Hello there, I'm Goran Starborn, and this is a scholarly playthrough of Dark Souls Remastered. If you don't know what a scholarly playthrough is, then you were not paying attention to the channel intro of my channel. But I'll assume that means that you're a TLDR kind of person, and if you're a TLDR kind of person, TLDR is I play games that have a lot of reading, such as in item descriptions, which is the kind we'll find here in Dark Souls, and I read everything. And if that sounds boring, don't watch it. There you go, TLDR. It won't hurt my feelings at all. You go watch what you want to watch. We're Glidrock, and we're gonna go with male. And then we have a bit of reading. The fearless warrior, weapon expert, high strength and dexterity. The low-ranking knight, high HP, solid armor, not easily toppled. The aimless wanderer, wields a scimitar, high dexterity. The guilt-ridden thief, high critical hits, has master key. The savage bandit, high strength, wields a heavy battle axe. The bow-wielding hunter, okay at close range but weak with magic. The sorcerer of Vinheim Dragon School casts soul sorceries. The swamp pyromancer casts fire spells and wields a hand axe. The cleric on pilgrimage wields a mace and casts healing miracles. The unclothed enigma that is the deprived is only armed with a club and an old plank shield. I usually go with deprived because his stats are all completely even, so you can work from scratch and make a character that is completely and utterly for you, which I just love. And so, you know what? We're gonna do that. And then we have gifts, little things that you start out with that can be helpful in different ways. We got Goddess's Blessing. Divine Holy Water fully restores HP and status. The Black Firebomb explodes upon impact when thrown, more deadly than a standard bomb. The Twin Humanities, a tiny sprite called Humanity, sometimes found on carcasses. And Humanity is basically co-op and player versus player currency. You use it to humanity item to gain humanity, which you can spend at a bonfire to make yourself human instead of undead. And when you are human, you can kindle the bonfire to make it give you more Estus Flask uses, which is a sort of healing potion. Also, being human makes you capable of doing co-op and PvP. The Binoculars, used to peer at faraway sights. The Pendant, a trinket, no effect, but fond memories comfort travel. The Master Key opens any basic lock. Initial equipment for thief. The Tiny Being's Ring, a special tribal ring, grants small HP increase. The Old Witch's Ring, an ancient ring with no obvious effect, gifted to you from a witch. We're going to go with the Master Key because there are a couple of doors early in the game that it opens that are a real bitch to open if you don't have it. And game progression help is always good. You know what physiques are, we're going to go with average. You know what faces are as well, but there are a bunch of different faces and they all have flavor text. So, a very average commoner face. The commonly seen face in the Five-Finger Delta. The handsome face of the refined common in Astora. The intelligent, sharp lines of the dragon scholar. But scholarly looks invite insult. The Thorlin clerics look common in Thorlin, known for its stalwart clerics. The jubilant Katarina, the jovial features of Katarina, known for festivity and drink. Ominous features associated with the Earl of Karim. The dubious Karim. The classic Xena, thoughtful, mature face, common in historical Xena. The eerie Great Swamp. Great Swamp heretics face prejudice for their atypical looks. And the Far East traveler face from a distant eastern land of almond eyes and thin lips, which is what I also go with, as that's what we're going to go with. And you know what hair is. We're going to go with short, and I'll assume you know what colors are as well. And we're going to accept that. This is going to be our character. And now, story time.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Oh? Ooh, shiny. Okay, let's see what he dropped for us. The dungeon cell key. We have a few items. The black separation crystal. Long a symbol of farewell is granted to a banished undead. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes or sends you back to yours. Beware of fickle use of this item if you intend to nurture relations. So using this item will make someone you're doing co-op with, it'll kick them out of your game. And using this item when you're invading someone to do PvP will kick yourself out of their game. The dark sign signifies an accursed undead. Those branded with it are reborn after death, but will one day lose their mind and go hollow. Death triggers the dark sign, which returns its bearer to the last bonfire rested at, but at the cost of all humanity and souls. So I talked about humanity, and that is the 00 in the top left. At the bottom right is our soul count. And souls are both currency and experience. When you rest at a bonfire, you can use them to level up. When you find merchants in the game, you can use them to buy things. Because those merchants are just like you, man. They want to level up, and they want you to share the wealth. Because not everyone can go killing stuff. Some people die when they try to do that. The master key, this universal key, opens any basic lock, tool of the trade for thieves. But in the cursed land of the undead, most doors are better left unopened. The dungeon cell key. The key to the dungeon of the undead asylum to the north. A mysterious knight without saying a word shoved a corpse down into the cell, and on its person was this key. Who was this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. The straight sword hilt. The hilt of this lost sword was found discarded in the undead asylum. Only slightly better than one's bare hands and not recommended for extensive use. Be certain to find a replacement quickly. You may have noticed we started with like a club and an old plank shield. Those are lying on the ground somewhere in the asylum, and we need to find them. And that is why you do not see them now. Well, let's do a quick stat breakdown. If you toggle with X, you can see item displays. You get your short stat preview, your long stat layout, and your description. And over on the right, you have stats and sort of a key. A lot of places will just show the symbol, but looking at your stats, you can see what those symbols represent. If we press Y, it goes to our defense and attack stats, and Y again, it goes to our resistances. But if we press Y like this, you can see one of the most important things to go over is equipment load. Our maximum is 51, so if we go over that, our character will start walking really slowly. But looking over at the straight sword hilt stats, these are attack and defense stats which appear for both weapons and shields, because you can bash with a shield and you can block with a weapon. On the left, you see attack type, regular thrust. Regular is just slashing, thrust is poking forward, obviously. 20 physical attack. You could also imbue things with magic, fire, lightning, or critical. You have parameter bonuses. We have an E in strength and an E in dexterity. That means that the weapon scales with strength and dexterity. But instead it's an E, it is the worst type of scaling. The best is an S. So not great, but scaling nonetheless. Some weapons don't have any scaling at all. Down low you see the auxiliary effects. You got bleeding, which makes you take extra damage. Poison, which makes you take damage periodically. There's actually a super poison called toxin, which makes you take damage periodically a lot. Then you have divine, the white circle, which makes you deal extra damage to undead things, like skeletons. And if they have a necromancer nearby that's trying to revive them, if you kill them with divine, it will prevent them from doing so. And occult, I'm not sure mechanic-wise what that does. I know that lore-wise gods don't like it, because occult, obviously. But on the right, you have damage reduction percentage. Physical is 20. That means it'll block 20% of all the incoming physical damage when you block with it. Obviously not very good for blocking because it's a broken sword. But then 5% of the magic, 15% of the fire and lightning, and stability is 10%, which means you get knocked around quite a bit when you're trying to block with it because it's a broken sword, again. Required parameters, pretty self-explanatory what that means, but should be noted for anything except for strength, if you see required parameters, that's just a flat, like you have to have this to use it no matter what, or you're going to suck with it. With strength, it's just for holding it in one hand. If I have 6 strength, I can use the straight sword hilt in one hand. If I had 3, I would have to use both hands. And if I had less than half, say 2, I would not be able to wield effectively at all. Durability, if it gets to 0 on a weapon, you just can't use the weapon anymore. If it gets to 0 on armor, the armor does not block incoming damage at all. Weight is for reference with the equipment load I talked about earlier. And then we come out here using Xbox controller. Right bumper is light attack. You pull the right trigger for heavy attack. Slap the left thumbstick forward and pull the right bumper for a kick. Do the same thing with a heavy attack for a lunge. Holding B makes you run. Tapping B makes you roll. And if your equipment load is below a quarter, you have a light roll like this. If it's between a quarter and half, you have what's called a medium roll, where you fall on your back and get up. Between half and a full load is fat roll, where you fall on your back and get up very slowly. If you are over your equipment load, your character walks like this, no matter how far forward you're pushing the thumbstick. And if you try to roll, instead your character just sort of stumbles forward a couple steps and moves even slower than a regular walk. But that's about everything, and we've already read all our descriptions because the Deprived does not start with much. You see little messages on the ground. This was left by a person. The rest of these messages are tutorials telling you what I just told you. I'm here, so you don't need those. There you have the Stray Demon. Same attack pattern and look as the Asylum Demon, which is the boss we're going to fight this episode. Oh yes, if you're already running and you let go and tap B again, he jumps. You gotta watch your stamina bar there. You see the green one up in the left corner depleting. Once it gets down to the bottom, you can no longer do anything. See, there's a pause, even though I'm rapidly tapping, because I'm out of stamina. And if you're out of stamina while blocking with a shield, say, you can still block, but it doesn't do anything. We open this door, and you'll see the Stray Demon, or no, the Asylum Demon, up there. And he's gonna drop down. The giant twisted demon monkey. Whoa. Usually a silhouette of a person can appear, another player. Seeing that she was fully decked out in crazy gear, she is one of the people on New Game Plus. Here we have the makeshift shield built from wooden planks. Provides minimal protection, but at the cost of a moderate humiliation. We're going to go ahead and equip it. And we're going to... I want to show you something that you can do with a shield. It's kind of fun. If you equip it in this hand, and then you two-hand it, normally if it's a light shield, you've got it in one hand, you attempt to parry if you pull the left trigger. But if you put it in your attacking hand, you can bash with it. And you can literally beat someone to death with a shield. And it's super fun. But we're not going to do all that craziness all the way through here. We got our simple wooden club. This simple bladeless strike weapon is effective against most foes, is easily handled, and can break the guard of a shield. However, a single miss makes one wide open, so timing and proximities are crucial. Indeed they are, friend. Indeed they are. Alright. So fun thing about this, if you pull the right trigger, he does the lunging attack 100% of the time with the club. And now some asshole's gonna roll an Atlas ball at us. What a dick. Backstabs are a thing. If you hit the sweet spot behind somebody, you can do a backstab for a ton extra damage. If you parry, like I was talking about, you can do a ton extra damage to their front side.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
So if you just come in here and don't talk to him and just kill him, then he just gives you, you get those items off his body. And you also get his souls. But one of the things playing this game a whole bunch of times teaches you is if you go far enough away to just let him die and then come back, you can get his souls anyways. And you're a nice guy. How about that? But if you're not talking to him just to hear him talk, the best thing to do is just to kill him if you want to get through it quickly. Because whether you do or not, he will come back to kill you when you come back here later to kill that stray demon in the basement. But we got a couple of new items. The Estus Flask. The undead treasure these dull green flasks. Fill with Estus at bonfire. Fills HP. The Estus flasks are linked to the Firekeepers. The Dark Tales also make reference. An emerald flask from the Keeper's soul. She lives to protect the flame, and dies to protect it further. Undead Asylum F2 East Key. Key to the iron bars on the east side of the second floor of the North Undead Asylum. The Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. Even if an undead were to escape from a cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. That is all she wrote for now. More messages. More tutorial messages, I believe. Resting at bonfire revives enemies. Expertly done. And now we face our first semi-tough enemy. But we have a shield. We can defeat him. Well, I'm gonna let him block again, just so I can show you how the kick works. He's not gonna block again. Okay. There we go. And there you go. Good stuff. Always good. Now, I am going to introduce you to one of the game's most fun things, called the plunging attack. A plunging attack is when you drop off of somewhere and attack like that. But if you're dropping off somewhere and you lunge forward, it does even more damage. And we shall demonstrate that right now. Oh yeah. 2/3 of his health already gone. Wah! And the first boss is down. Victory achieved. And now you can hear his brother, the Stray Demon, below. You actually didn't get to see any of the Asylum Demon's attacks. I'm sorry about that. Except for his butt pound. He does a few different attacks with his mace. The Stray Demon below has like a sort of a wand or catalyst type weapon, but it's as big as the mace, and he does the same attacks. Only difference is that when he swings the catalyst, it causes explosions, and that's just it's super great. And here we got humanity. A rare, tiny, black sprite found on corpses used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. It says large, it's actually all of it, all the HP. Unless you can actually get to a point that it doesn't. I don't think I've ever had that much HP, though. I've had a lot. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? Philosophical. Good stuff. And the Big Pilgrim's Key opens the inner door of the Undead Asylum main hall. Big key belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim, but this chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store. We use the Big Pilgrim's Key. This game actually has a lot of keys. Pretty fun. Okay. I don't think it's here now, but there is something over here. Oh, it is here. This little nest here. If you drop an item in this nest that's of like limited or no value, some things that are valuable, then you quit out of the game and come back, it'll be replaced with something that is valuable. It doesn't work with every item, but it does work with quite a few. But I don't have any of those items right now. But now we leave the tutorial.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran,
The land of Lordran is called Lordran. Okay, just like the messages, this guy right here just gives you a tutorial. But I am the tutorial guy, not you. That barely did any damage to him, so I'm changing my mind. We're not gonna kill him. Instead, we're gonna go after that first weapon I talked about. Yeah, man, that's the plan. That was the plan all along. I'm not gonna kill that guy. He's a cool guy. We don't want to kill him. Let's kill these skelly bros instead. Oh, jeez. And we're back. No harm done. Just had to run back a little ways. Didn't even have to waste your time with it. Get wrecked. Oh no! That kind of felt cheaty. They didn't get very much time to fight back. What's this? The large soul of a lost undead. The large soul of a lost undead who is long gone hollow. Used to acquire souls. Souls are the source of all life, and whether undead or even hollow, one continues to seek them. So I told you a little bit about souls or currency, but you can also find like souls lying on the ground, like souls of other undead folk in the game, NPCs. And you can crush their souls in your hand, and it gives all the souls that they had acquired to you. All the normal ones like this that you just find lying on the ground are going to have exactly the same description, just slightly different title at the beginning. Just like with armor sets. Expertly done. I'm very proud of myself. It's a good time. I did it. I killed him. And we got the spear. We got the spear. Exactly what I came here for. We're gonna get that spear. We're gonna grab this soul here. I'll come over here and die again, because that's fun. So, as you may have gathered, when you die, your souls fall into a puddle of blood on the ground. If you can make it back to that puddle of blood, you get your souls back when you touch it. If you can't make it back to that puddle of blood and you die again before you get there, they're gone forever. But what you may not know, because I haven't acquired any humanity yet, is that humanity does that too. It falls on the ground with your souls, and if you don't get back to it, it's just gone forever. Which is a bigger deal, because humanity is like semi-finite. You can't get an unlimited amount of humanity. I suppose there is a spot in the DLC to farm it, but it's a lot harder to get your hands on. We're gonna go ahead and rest at this bonfire and level up Dex to 15, and now we just need to get Strength to 13. When we come back, I'll be getting an item of great value. How ominous. How very, very ominous.
Get the